Hello and welcome back. This is episode 27, probably, maybe, of my vlog series about creating the art for a 2D video game. And I should probably stop numbering them because every episode I have to get on and check and see what number I'm on, and I don't think anybody cares except me because I think it's fun to keep track of. But anyway, today's episode is brought to you by Baby Einstein because my daughter won't nap today or yesterday or the day before. And so I turned on a movie for her so that maybe I could get this done, which, I don't know, I think a lot of moms would frown on me for that, but anyway, that's what's happening. I think Baby Einstein is a gift to parents everywhere, so I have 2 videos, so if I wanted, I could probably stretch this out to an hour. We'll see what her attention span, how long it holds out. But I really wanted to do another Draw With Me episode today. I've been working on... if you've watched any of my previous episodes over the last, several weeks, I've been working on a lot of assets and furnishings for different buildings in our game, and one of the next ones I need to do is a carpenter shop. One of our characters is a carpenter, and he needs a woodworking shop, and I don't have too many pieces of furniture to draw for that one, so I'm kind of hoping to maybe be able to draw it all in this episode. We'll see, and that might be optimistic. But I've already gathered all the reference I think that I'm going to need, and so this is going to be another one of those episodes that's pretty chill, a little bit podcasty. So if you want to go and do something else, or if you want to go and draw and just listen to me turn me on in the background, this would be a great episode for that. And anyway, I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to switch over to my screen and I'll start drawing. Okay, we are in, and as you can see, I have some reference photos here already open. I like to stick them right on my canvas, usually just off to the side of where I'm working, so that I can, look at them as I am drawing. And let's see, so I've got a couple of... So I should start off by saying that I know nothing about woodworking. I don't even have the vocabulary to describe most of this stuff. And so I'm going to be trying to... in an ideal world, I would do the research, and so I would know what I needed. But I'm also lazy, so there's that, and so I just am using a bunch of photographs of old, vintage woodworking shops, and trying to just gather bits and pieces from that. One thing I know I'm going to need is some kind of a woodworking bench, which I can see, is in most of these images. Something else, I thought maybe, I was looking at a bunch of pictures, and a lot of them would have, pegboards up on, the back wall with a bunch of tools on there. Like I said, I do not have the vocabulary for most of these. All I know is they are used for woodworking stuff. That's about the extent of my knowledge. The only thing I've ever actually made out of wood, back in one of my college classes, it was a sculpture class, and our teacher wanted us to make a wooden wedge that we could use to smooth the clay. Hold on one second. I can't type and think at the same time. Type and talk. I can't type and think apparently either. This layer, I'm just renaming my layer here. We'll make this a sketch layer. Anyway, so we had to make this wooden wedge to smooth our clay with, and our professor told us to come in and use, the woodworking tools to make this little wedge, and I came in, but there was a guy who liked me, and I'm pretty sure he made mine, so there's that. So that's my confession. At least I wasn't graded on it, I just had to have one. Gee. Okay, so I'm going to do a woodworking bench of some kind. I also think it would be fun, and a lot of these old photos that I was looking at, the ground is just covered in these little wood curls. I don't know how well you can see that, but if you're looking at this old vintage photo here, you can just see there's just wood shavings everywhere, and I thought, well, piles of those would be pretty cool. And so I'm going to do something like that, and I think I'm going to do things just some half-finished projects that can sort of lean against the wall. I imagine it being a fairly small space. I don't want to have to fill a giant cavern with stuff. Just like I said, small space. Oh, and here's Bruce, by the way. I've got him up on the screen so that I can make sure that everything is the right size and make it, more to scale. So the first thing I'm going to sketch out is that bench. And mind you, my sketches are super rough. I enjoy working off of really loose sketches more than off of really tight ones. Because if my sketch is really tight, then my drawing gets even tighter to the point that it's gets kind of stiff. It loses its appeal, I think, a lot. Other people don't have that problem. A lot of people actually really prefer, a lot of artists really prefer to work from a tight sketch to know exactly what they're doing ahead of time. For some reason, that's never worked for me very well. My work just gets really stiff and lifeless when I do that. So I almost prefer, I guess you could say that it's more work on the front end if you do a tight sketch and less work on the finish if you do your sketch really tight and plan everything out ahead of time. And for a lot of people, I think that's true, but for some reason it just doesn't work for me. It actually ends up being, I end up doing more work, I think, to get my final piece up to a level that I'm happy with it. But at the same time, it has so much more life that I'm okay with that. So I'm just sort of copying just the shape of this table over here. In fact, I'm making it a little too big. If you can see, table is like as tall as he is. I need to make it. And again, like I said, these are just loose sketches because I just do the more polished line work right over the top of it. I think that's a better size. About that size, I'm thinking. Maybe a little longer. That's another beauty of Photoshop. So I can just like stretch it out. There we go. So something like longer like that, I'm thinking. Little like chunky legs. Something else that's been like a dream come true is this. I think I've mentioned it before, but the symmetry tool that they recently added to Photoshop is so nice for this stuff. Because I only have to draw half of a woodworking bench. What I used to do is I used to draw half, then I would copy, paste, and flip it, and just line up the edges. But saving that step, boy, that's really nice. Okay, so we have sort of a bench thing here. I think that, I'll buy that. That looks like a bench. I mean, I'm sure if any of you out there actually do woodworking, you're just shaking your head. But that passes my inspection, boy. I think it'd be nice if it had, like, some wear on it, too. Okay, so I like the looks of that. So there's his bench. I'll probably put some odd tools on it. Actually, I really like this little, it's almost like a tackle box over here. I think I'm going to put that on his bench. Just kind of looks like a tackle box just for tools. I have one of these because my youngest brother, when he was in Cub Scouts, made one, and he gave it to me for my art supplies. And I thought it was so sweet. But I actually have a little tackle box like this, and they're really nice for a lot of things. Imagine woodworking. There we go. Put a little shape of that box there so we can kind of infer that there are tools and things in it. It looks like here they've got like clamps and stuff on the side, but I don't really know what those are for, and I don't want to try and guess. Probably, I'm guessing for like clamping down wood, maybe, as you're like, nailing things together or whatever. But like I said, I don't really want to mess it up too bad. So there we go. There's his bench, and let's do like a big pegboard. I'm going to do like a big pegboard. I think that could be on like the far wall behind his bench. Like I said, I'm keeping this space. It's going to be fairly small. I've already drawn the exterior of the workshop. And this guy, Bruce, he lives in our really fancy like rival kingdom, the one I've been working on for the last several weeks. And so he lives there. And so he lives in like, everybody there kind of lives in these really nice townhomes. And so he lives in this really nice townhome, but right next door is his place of business, is his workshop. And I wanted to keep it close because I thought that'd be convenient if he just lives, in his townhome, walks over to his workshop right next door. And so next door to the townhome, there's another doorway, they're off to the side. And whereas his house is like 2 stories, the little townhome's only 1. I imagine it's just much smaller. Like a little rented space, maybe. And anyway, that's where he does his work. So I didn't want to have to fill a giant space. Part of that's because, like I said, I have no vocabulary for some of this stuff. I don't even know what a lot of it is or what it's for. And so I don't want to draw something that's like, people are going to look at it and be like, what the heck is that? And why is it in a woodworking shop? Oh, ignorance. So much ignorance that I have. Okay, so I'm going to look over here, get a closer look at this picture. Now, I'm definitely going to put some saws on there and know what those are for. And this looks like a big clamp of some kind. Gonna do that. And these, I've seen these on movies, these little spiral things, I think that maybe they use to like shave away, you know, little strips of wood. Oh gosh, I know nothing. This is embarrassing. Okay, but I'm gonna put some of those on there because they look right. Okay, so let's put that big clamp thing on there because I like the look of that. And it looks like it would be useful if you were a carpenter. I actually kind of considered, I thought it'd be funny if he was, you know, he's the only carpenter in town, but he's actually really lousy. I'm thinking about, because I still haven't done his house yet. His house is next, or at least the furnishings for his house. I've drawn the exterior, but the furnishings aren't done for his house, and I was thinking it'd be kind of funny if like all of his furniture was solid wood and just had like random nails sticking out of it here and there. Like maybe he's just not very good. Or maybe all of his rejected pieces, the ones that just don't turn out, he just takes home and uses. I thought that would be kind of funny, but I'm not sure. I have to get to know his character a little better before I decide. And I feel like when I work on their, you know, maybe this sounds a little corny, but I feel like as I work on each of these characters on their homes, I really get to know like who they are and get a feel for their personalities. And I'm not quite there with him yet, so we'll see. We'll see what I decide to do with his house. I still think, even if he is a really good carpenter, I still think it'd be funny if, like, all of his furniture is solid wood, like, even his bed. Like, maybe he doesn't even have a mattress, maybe he just, like, sleeps on a wood pallet. Because he's just, like, he just loves, he is one with his work. Like, there's no distinction between his home life and his work life. It is all one. I think that would be super funny. I might do that because if it made me laugh, it might make somebody else laugh. But I am so clever. I just laugh at all my own ideas. Okay, so there we have a pegboard with a few tools on it. And let's draw that. Let's do a few of those saws because I like those. I think those could hang on the wall too. Maybe off to... Should they be on the pegboard or like off to one side? I'm looking at these photos and everybody seems to have like a set of 3 saws on the wall. So I'm going to copy that actually because that one has a set of 3 saws and this one does too. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do a set of 3 saws and I think this pegboard is actually too big again. Let's shrink that down. There we go. That's better. That's a more reasonable size. Anyway, actually, most of this week I've spent working on, we've got a musician who lives in this town too, and I've been working on his stuff all week, and oh my goodness, like, I've revised a lot on his house. Like, not the exterior actually went really smoothly because everybody just lives in these townhomes. They're kind of cookie cutter, like really easy to do. But the interiors where, you know, all the personality is where people can really customize and make their space their own. And figuring out how to do his, because I had an idea as I was working on it what kind of personality he was, but trying to reflect it in a not quite medieval, like your home kingdom's fairly medieval, but like this rival kingdom is almost more like Baroque style, like everything is very decorated and it's just a little bit more modern. And so trying to find a way to reflect his personality with that sort of aesthetic has been kind of tough, although I think I kind of had a breakthrough last night. Last night I was up after I put the kiddos to bed. I was up for a little while and my husband had gone to sleep, so I stayed up for a little while longer afterward and just kept messing because I'm just doing the mock-up. So I finished the furniture and I've been trying to do like a mock-up of you know, all the spaces and you know, before we actually put them in, you know, finalize them and put them in, I do a mock-up to make sure everything fits and looks good and has the right feel and everything to it. Anyway, I think I kind of had a breakthrough last night. I think I'm on the right track, but I'll talk about that more when I actually do that video. But today I'm a little short on time because my baby didn't nap and I had to walk our dog. We got a new dog and she's awesome for about 2/3 of the day, and for about another third of the day drives you absolutely crazy because she has so much energy. So anyway, I walked her this morning, took her on a nice, long, brisk walk to get her energy out. And anyway, that ate into some of my drawing time, or my video making time rather. And Anyway, so I was thinking about making that into a video today, but I thought, you know, I just really felt like drawing today as opposed to video editing. So I thought, well, instead of doing that, I'm just gonna work on, I just want to actually draw while I make a video, you know, to kill two birds with one stone. So right now I'm just making like this pile of wood chips here, which again is too big. I keep doing this. Actually, I had the opposite problem when I was working on our musician's house. I kept making his stuff way too small. Like, I actually put his kitchen into the mock-up and realized that it was like doll-sized. Like, it was just way, way, way too small. And so I went back and had to change that furniture a bit. Okay, so I like what I've got here. So we've got a little pile of wood chips. We've got some saws to hang on the wall. Got some tools on a pegboard. And I want to do just like some wood boards, some like projects in progress that can just sort of like lean up against the back wall. And actually, I'm sort of envisioning, so here's this woodworking bench, and see, I'm going to do a little thumbnail here. This is what I usually do to kind of try and decide exactly what I need for a space. So, okay, so here's we're going to pretend that this little square here is the room, is the actual woodworking shop. And I'm imagining, this is what I'm imagining. Okay, here's the back wall, by the way. So we're like looking down into the room, like almost bird's eye, if that makes sense. So here's his bench there. This is kind of what I'm picturing. So here's this bench, and then on this back wall, we'll have his pegboard with all of his tools on it, and maybe like those saws off to the side, like right here. And I'm thinking like some wood boards there, and just piles of wood chips everywhere. And he could be back here. So here's Bruce. He's happy. We'll put a smiley face on him. Happy Bruce. Okay, he's back here behind his bench working. And here's the door, so when you come in, you can interact with him. And just lots of wood chips everywhere. You know what I think I'm missing? He needs a hammer. We'll put a hammer on the bench too, because obviously you need a hammer. And here's his little tackle box. Okay. Yes, so this is the vision I have in my head for his little space, and I think I like that. I'm also thinking of maybe putting like a stove in here somewhere, just to like, as like a heater basically, to warm the space, although I don't know if that would be dangerous in a woodworking shop. I will see. Okay, so I'm going to add a hammer here to his, bench. Right there, so there, sketched out a hammer. The other thing I have to decide too is what to do on his walls. I haven't totally decided. Like, not as in, not decorations, but like the actual finish on the wall. For a lot of these homes, I've been designing custom either paint or wallpaper, you know, to go on the back walls, because I figure that's something that people like to customize. You know, when they move into a new house, they like to paint it. And that's a fairly inexpensive thing you can do to put your stamp on a home. And so I figure most of my characters, most of our NPCs here are going to like to do that. And so for pretty much all of the homes I've done, the manor and like, of course, my musician's house, and so I've made custom wallpapers, you know, made that tile for the walls. And I'm wondering what I should do for the wood shop, or this workshop, because most of these look like they have like plank wood walls, which would make sense, and I could do that, except it's in kind of a nice building. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up so you can see it. Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. So this is the house. So this is actually my musician. He's Amadeus. His name is Amadeus. He lives in the greenhouse. You guys get the reference, I'm sure. He lives in the green townhome. And then this one, this orange-yellow one right here, this is going to be Bruce, the carpenter's place. And this little place right here on the end is going to be his woodworking shop, which is just right next door. And so I think it might be a little strange if you walked in and the walls were like wood planks. It just seems like these look like more of an outdoor shed kind of setting as opposed to like a sophisticated place of business. So I haven't quite figured out what to do there yet. I think it'll come to me. I think what I might do is do like a wood paneling that goes up like, you know, like a third or a quarter of the wall, like you sometimes see in old buildings, and then do just like white above that, maybe. I do have something like that actually done already, like a plaster sort of wall that has a wood paneling on the bottom part, and that could work, I think, for my purposes. So I might do something like that. I'll test it out first, obviously, to see what I like. And I've got plenty of wood floors. I've already made wood floors for other settings that I can use, and I'm using them all over the place, so that will be fine. I want these to look like they're leaning a bit more. That's a little better. All right, and also I want them to be shorter. I think those, again, these wood planks are like as tall as this guy is. I don't know why I keep making everything so big, but that is the magic of Photoshop. Okay, so there we go. Those look a little better sized. Like they're like 6-foot planks or something, maybe. All right, so we've got a pile of wood that can sort of lean up against the wall. What about like a half-finished project, like a rocking chair? That would be kind of cool to have in a corner, like something he's been working on. You know, I don't have a picture of a rocking chair, but I can get one. Oh, Google, I love you so much. All right, so I want like a vintage, vintager rocking. I'm doing this with one hand. Let's see. Oh yeah. Yeah, this will be perfect. Like, whoa, seriously. That's awesome. I feel like I need to save that for something. I don't know what yet, but something. Somebody needs this rocking chair in their house. I'm internalizing that idea. Okay, I need one that looks like handmade, maybe? Let's see, what if we try like handmade rocking chair? I want something that looks like it's like maybe in progress? Let's find out if we can find something. Okay, yeah, this is kind of what I'm thinking. It just has a look like somebody carved it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna borrow some of these for reference. Oh, this one looks like the rocking chair my grandma had in her house. You know what? This one gives me good memories, so I'm going to use this one. My grandma pretty much had a rocking chair just like that. I'd actually really like a rocking chair like this, honestly. Let's think. Do I want it from like the side? I think I do, actually. Whoops. Okay, I want it like... Okay, again, I'm making it way too big. Gee. Okay, so I'm gonna get like the basic shape of our rocker here. I'm making it too big again. That's okay, I will fix it. I guess I can make it really as big as I want because it's just a sketch and I can fix it later. Alright, so I'm gonna get just the basic shape down, like sort of a broad seat, high back, broad seat. Sorry, I'm leaning like super close to my microphone. This might be super loud afterward. I guess we'll find out. And I'm not very good at sound editing, I'm finding out. I'm actually truly lousy at sound editing. Mostly because I don't know anything about it, so I just mess with all of the buttons and the sliders and stuff until it sounds better than it did. But, yeah, I should probably, like, read a tutorial or something so I know what I'm actually doing. What if we had, like, some nails sticking out of it still? Like, it really is in progress. And a bunch of, like, wood chips around it on the floor. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Alright, I think that's everything I want for his little workshop. I can't think of anything really missing, so I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna start lining this in the time I have. So let's add a lines layer. And I'm gonna switch brushes to my amazing cartoon nib. I think that's what it's called. I love this one. Alright, let's get in here and do this now. And of course, as always, I'm going to cheat the perspective really bad, because that's just how I do it. There we go. So we got our top, which is, again, wonky perspective, but that's how I've been doing everything, so if it's all wrong, then it is all correct. There we go. add the legs on this thing. Man, it is like super hot in here. I know I shouldn't really complain because a lot of my northern relatives have basically not even seen spring yet. But man, it is like hot here. I was out, like I mentioned before, I was out walking my dog this morning, and I mean, I was out, it was, I don't know, maybe it wasn't 10 o'clock in the morning or so, and it was already just like hot. I had to put sunscreen on me and the baby and wear my hat, which I'm still wearing because I've got hat hair, and I love my hat. I mean, there's that. Not gonna lie to you, I would wear hats way more if they're just like not socially acceptable, and like, I don't know, maybe I'm too old-fashioned, but it seems like maybe kind of rude to wear a hat indoors still. I don't know, maybe I was just taught that when I was taught that when I was a kid going to like public school, that you weren't supposed to wear hats indoors, and so I don't, except at my own house. Here we go. Let's add like, I like the idea of like big knobby pegs sort of holding this thing together as opposed to little nails. Let's do some big knobby pegs. There we go. Okay, so the shape of that looks good. Now I need to add some, I want to add some damage to it, I guess. Why can I not think of words? Let's see. I want to add some wear, that's the word I wanted. So I don't want it to be too symmetrical. I mean, I want it to look like he's actually used this thing. Maybe some little splits in the wood here. Just little hints that this isn't brand new. That he's been using it for a long time. Okay, so, and I'll add like some more to the wood grain too. I'll add, you know, wood grain and just some, a little more character that way when I color it. And that reminds me, so I need to put in my tackle box here. Toolbox. I guess maybe it's a toolbox. Let's see, so it's kind of got this like, it's like a loaf of bread shape. Like an angular loaf of bread. And I don't get too hung up on like perfect perspective or anything. Like if I wanted to, I could go ahead and measure this all out and get it perfect, but it's just, that's not even, the aesthetic of this game just isn't even, it just isn't that, you know? Like, so I don't feel any need to make things super straight, and I have found too, I used to be much more, I've talked about this before, I definitely used to be more of a perfectionist than I am now. way more of a perfectionist. And something that I realized it took me a long time to sort of accept is that, because I used to be a real like control freak with my art, like everything had to be perfect, it had to be straight, it had to be really clean. And I found out that a lot of the art I admired wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. You know, I really liked a lot of the stuff that wasn't perfectly straight and clean and controlled. You know, I actually really like stuff that's left a little bit more loose and gestural. And so, you know, I realized that like actually letting go and letting things not be perfect, I think increases appeal sometimes. Although there is work that I like that is super clean, and I know that there is definitely an audience for that. I notice it in a lot of like anime stuff. I'm not really familiar. I can't, you know, I don't really watch. I don't watch anime or manga. I don't read that, and so I'm not familiar with any of it really. But I know that just looking at that art, that it's very clean. Usually the line work is usually ultra clean, and so I definitely know there is an audience for that sort of thing. It's just I guess it wasn't what I loved. Anyway, but it took me a while to figure out what I liked. I'm still figuring out what I like. What we like is always changing and developing. That is definitely true. The sort of art that I really admired when I was, say, like, you know, 15, 16 is different than the art that I really admire now. Alright, let's move on and draw this hammer. Oh, and I'm drawing this from memory. I should grab a reference for a hammer. I have a hammer. I have one in my house, several of them, in fact. My husband likes to collect tools. He does use them too, but he also likes to collect them. And so I have several hammers. And I could just get up and go get one. But the thing is the garage, in order to get to the garage, I have to walk through the playroom, which is where the baby is watching her show. And I'm afraid if she sees me, she will suddenly feel the need to come with me. She will suddenly realize how lonely and forlorn and forsaken she is, and she'll want to come with me. There we go. Cute little wonky hammer. I like that. He's actually got one in his belt. I guess I could have referenced that. That looks like it. That passes for a hammer, right? Totally passes for a hammer. Actually, I'm gonna fix this just a bit. I think it passes, but I'm just gonna make that. I don't know if I made that better. No, I'm totally making this worse now. Oh, I should just left it alone. Erin. That's the way my mom says my name when she's upset at me. Erin! And so when I'm upset with myself, that's how I say it now. Just kidding, it's my mom on my shoulder. Erin! Actually, my little brother does it that way too. See what you started, Mom? Okay, there we go. Hammer. I like that. I'll buy that. Okay. Now, let's put the bench back on and turn that layer back on. I'm going to adjust this a bit because we've got a tangent there with the way the toolbox is touching the edge. Okay, and I will fix that up. Touch that up there. Awesome. Okay, I like that. I buy that. I totally believe that this is a woodworking shop. Mostly because I obviously don't know any better. Okay, let's use another vertical symmetry line here to do our pegboard. Okay, I'm gonna stick that right there. That's got to be pretty close to center, I think. I'm gonna one more go. No, twice. Yes! Yeah, okay, I like that. I think that's pretty good. And instead of trying to repeat that, I am just going to copy and paste this really quick. Paste it in place. And then we're going to turn it into a frame here. Let's see, I want the bottom to be, whoops, didn't want that. A little longer. There we go. Yeah. Okay, I like that. Let's merge that back down. Actually, our high school had a woodworking class. Our high school was like, high school I went to, I guess I should say, was very small. And they didn't have a lot of like extracurricular stuff. I mean, they kind of had the bare bones, whatever they needed to get us out, graduate us, get us out of their hair. That's kind of like what they offered, because they just our school didn't have much money. It's funny because I look at schools here, and we have some really nice schools here, and they offer everything. I mean, oh man, I mean, these kids have they have photography classes, they have sculpture classes, they have journalism, and one of my one girl that I was talking to that I go to church with, she was saying she was taking a class on genocide, like a genocide history class, which sounds like possibly the most depressing way to spend a semester ever, but also probably really worthwhile good knowledge. Anyway, they have just everything. And we didn't have a lot of this stuff. We had a very few extracurricular activities you could choose from, but woodworking was one of them. And I always kind of wanted to do it, except that I'm kind of scared of saws. I just really like all of my fingers, like all of them, all 10. And I don't really want to lose any of them. And And for that reason, I didn't take woodworking. I did take a class where I got to do some welding. And again, man, I just realized this is maybe the theme of my life. So I was in welding. It was sort of a unit on welding. We didn't even do it wasn't a full class, but it was a little unit on welding. And anyway, I was working on something. Actually, I was enjoying it, although I didn't really like the fire part too much. And I remember I was making something and hadn't realized, I thought it was cool enough. And I was making some, in fact, I think we were making metal roses or something. I mean, it was pretty simple. They turned out cool. But I didn't realize that it wasn't cooled down enough. And I touched it with my thumb and just scalded the heck out of my poor thumb. I mean, just like for weeks afterward, I actually couldn't feel with my thumb. I think I damaged the nerves. I really, really hurt it. Anyway, so scalded my thumb and, basically took all the skin off of it and everything. And from then on, my teacher basically just did all of my work for me. I still remember, I went to him with, I didn't ask him to. I remember I went to him with a question, something I was working on. I don't remember what it was at that point, but there's something I brought to him. I was like, hey, could you, had a question about something. He's like, oh yeah. And he just took it from me and wandered off. And at the end of class, he just brought it back to me done. He's like, here you go. And I don't know, maybe he thought we would sue him or something. I don't know. My dad is an attorney. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. Because small town, everybody knows everybody else. And anyway, maybe that was it. Maybe he thought we were going to sue him. Probably not. We're not that kind of family. We don't just sue people. Though you may want to. Okay, so here we've got our pegboard. But yeah, between that and my one experience making a wood wedge, which I didn't make, some guy who liked me made, it probably sounds like I'm really manipulative or something. Maybe I am a bit. My husband might say I am. I certainly know how to get what I want. I don't know if that's a good thing. Okay, here we go. Let's see, I'm gonna draw, now that I've got the board done, I'm gonna draw this clamp thing. Like I said, I'm sure there's somebody out here. What am I doing? I could totally be using my symmetry for this. I'm sure somebody out there knows what this is called and could tell me. So if you know, if you are in my comment section and don't bother keeping it to yourself. We'd love to hear what some of this stuff is called. Because, as we've already established, I am lazy and probably won't look it up. Let's see. Thankfully, I don't think I have to make a welding shop. I did make a forge. I suppose, I might have to make a blacksmith shop. I'm trying to think. I want to say we have a blacksmith in one of our kingdoms. In fact, I'm sure we do. We do. We have a blacksmith in one of our kingdoms. I will have to do that. But, I feel like pictures of blacksmith shops aren't too hard to come by, actually. I've seen a number of them. Actually, I really I've talked about James Gurney on this channel before because he's, the coolest. And he's one of my art heroes. Easily one of my art heroes. All day long, one of my art heroes. Anyway, he did some really cool pictures of a blacksmith shop, actually. Just painted it on site. And I loved those. And maybe I'll reference those. An old-fashioned blacksmith type shop with people, actually working. And he did some super cool images. And I think I've got them favorited on Instagram or somewhere. So hopefully I can reference them, look at those, and get some ideas. Because his paintings are amazing. And anyway, that might give me some ideas. Because I think we do have a blacksmith character. I'm trying to remember where she lives, though. I want to say it's a she. I think it is a she. I almost want to say that she lives... I think she lives... Maybe we've got a seaside, coastal village. Maybe she lives there. I could check, but it's not really relevant. I want to say that... Yeah, she lives there. We have I don't know if any of you are familiar with Trello. I think it's kind of a big thing. I think a lot of people are familiar with it, but we've been using it just like keep track of the project and keep each other updated. We talk on the phone and we text and stuff too, but that's, you know, where we keep kind of our, it's almost like our Bible, you know, our Bible for all the information we need, and just all of our ideas and everything goes there. And, you know, things that are in progress, things that we need to work on, and just everything's there. Anyway, so we've got pretty much short bios at least written for pretty much all of our characters. I think we'll do, I mean, we'll flesh them out more as we go, but we've pretty much got all of our characters thought up, and there are quite a few. We tried to keep it reasonable and sane, you know, as much as possible. But you know, when you've got all these kingdoms, I mean, for our beta launch, I think we want to have at least, 4 kingdoms up and running besides yours. So 4 kingdoms that you can visit and interact with and form relationships with and all of that. We want to have at least 4 up and running for the beta launch. But ultimately, there will be 8. I think 8. 8 or 6. Well, I guess it depends on... We do have one kingdom that is just kind of just an enemy kingdom. They just are sort of... They're always going to be your enemy. I don't think you can befriend them. At least that's sort of the route we're thinking about, is that they're just the bad guys. Anyway... So they, I don't know if, so that, there will be that one, but I think you'll still be able to visit them. Maybe you can sneak in. I don't know, that would be kind of cool. I've already drawn, because early on in our game's development, it was a very different game early on. I'll have to make a video about that. That would be kind of interesting, I think, for some people. But it started out as a very different game than what it became. Anyway, so I drew for these enemies, I thought they're like a mountain people. And I thought it'd be cool if they lived in like this great big like stone temple in the mountains. And so I've already drawn that, like the exterior of it. Not the interior, but the exterior's done. And we don't have to use it. Like I've drawn lots of things that we're not going to use, and that's totally fine. But if we do use it, I want to be able to go inside of it. I'm just saying. Which means more work for me, let's be honest. Like if I want to be able to go inside of it, I've got to draw the inside. But I am nothing if not ambitious. Actually, it's kind of funny because I always say I'm lazy, but I'm also super ambitious. So there's that. Maybe I just pick my battles. We'll just say that. I'm efficient. I've been trying to remember to call myself efficient instead of lazy because it sounds more professional. I'm efficient. I think actually lots of our history's great minds would describe themselves that way, as efficient, not lazy. They work smart, not hard. I don't know if I work smart either because I make a lot of mistakes. I end up redrawing a lot of stuff. Like I try not to too much because, like I said, it's, you know, time lost. But I don't mind redrawing things most of the time because I just like to draw. This is just like, even if I wasn't making this, I would still be using all of my spare time to draw. That's what I do. Especially my entire adult life, like, I use all of my spare time that I can to draw. Now, there are times that I have spare time, but I can't be drawing. Like when both the kids are home and they're, you know, I've finished with most of the chores, you know, dishes are done, laundry's folded, all that stuff, you know, ran the vacuum. I can't always just sit and draw because the kids get into mischief and I get like way zoned out when I draw. Like I don't hear anything, I don't see anything, the kids could get away with murder. It's just, yeah, that's happens every time. And anyway, so it's better sometimes if I don't draw and there's a lot of interruptions too. I mean, let's be honest, like the kids, they need stuff, they need help with everything, and there's a lot of interruptions, so it's hard to like really get into the zone. So I do other things then, you know, or I'll work. Sometimes I'll just play in my sketchbook. I do that quite a bit too. I love my sketchbook. My sketchbook is so ugly. Like, it's funny because I look at a lot of artists ones that I really admire, just, you know, love their stuff, like James Gurney. James Gurney. I love him so much, I hate him. His sketchbook is, like, freaking gorgeous. It's not even a sketchbook, it's just a book containing a lot of really polished, beautiful work. Like, that's really what it is. It's not a sketchbook. I don't believe for 3 seconds that that's a sketchbook. And Jake Parker, amazing sketchbook. He sells his. Like, his sketchbooks are amazing enough to sell, like, the people like me will, like, pay money for them. And, anyway, my sketchbook is hideous. Like, it is downright shameful. My sketchbook is where I do all of my ugly work. Like, I don't show it to people, generally. I mean, if they want to look at it, fine. But also, like, in all fairness, like, I feel like my sketchbook is almost... I don't want to say a visual journal exactly, because it's not, like, super personal, but it kind of is. Like, it feels sort of like if I want to look at somebody else's sketchbook, I always ask first, because it can feel like an invasion of privacy when somebody just, like, takes your book and starts flipping through it, which I've had happen, most artists have, and it's like, oh yeah, don't look at that, oh yeah, that's really a bad draw. I can draw better than that, by the way. Like, these are just my ugly sketches. Like, you feel like you need to defend them all, because they're just, like, hideous, and it's like, I really can draw, I swear. Although, to be fair, none of this is gorgeous. Like, let's be honest here. That's not what I'm going for in this game. This game is going to be fun, and it's going to be funny, and family friendly, and, yeah. It's not, like, super polished or anything, visually speaking. Alright, you know what? I'm going to save myself some work, and I'm just going to copy and paste this saw. I'm just going to shrink it down so we have different sizes, and I'm going to kind of stagger them because I just think that's more visually appealing. And paste it again. Do our smallest one right here. I think my baby's movie is over. We'll see if she'll stay happy enough for me to finish drawing this. I've got a little more time. I've got just a little more time before I got to go pick up my son from school, and then I'll get this footage uploaded. So this video might be getting to you a little later today, which is fine. Actually, you know, it's funny because, oh my goodness, I haven't quite figured out what those saws are huge, aren't they? I'm going to shrink them all. Anyway, so I haven't quite figured out what the correlation is, because when I go to, like, export my videos, like actually export them, turn them into an MP4 that can be uploaded to YouTube, sometimes it goes really fast, and sometimes it takes an eternity, and it doesn't seem to have anything whatsoever to do with, like, the length of the video, because sometimes, like, my 20-minute videos will go super fast, and it's like my 8-minute videos that take all day. Like, I swear, there are insects whose entire life cycle could be contained in the time it takes to export some of those videos. Like, they could be born and live and die, like, in that time. Like, my last video was like that. Oh my goodness. I actually made it a day in advance. Like, I was really on the ball. I made it on Thursday as opposed to Friday, which is what I'm doing today, because anyway. Anyway, so I made it on Thursday and figured I'd have it finished. I was so proud, you know, I'd have it all finished, and I would go ahead and I would, get it just scheduled for upload, so it would just, like, upload automatically at, like, 8 in the morning. Like, I was feeling very proud of myself, and it took over 24 hours to export it. Like, so it didn't get up until it was regular time. It got up at its usual time, and anyway, so trying to be, that's the lesson. Like, don't overachieve. Okay, my kiddo's getting sad. I will be right back. I'm gonna go get her. Okay, I'm back. No time passed for you, but I am back. And my little girl, my sweet baby girl, is going to join me in the office. So if you hear baby sounds, well, that's because she's in here hanging out while I record. Hopefully she won't be too noisy, because I'm not re-recording any of this. Like, efficiency / laziness. I like the shape of this rocking chair. I like how the seat has some curves to it. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna add some thickness to it. A little thickness to my rocking chair. You know, actually, my favorite part of drawing clothes, because fabric's hard to draw. Like, especially when it's on a form, you know, when it's on a person. Fabric's hard to draw, getting all the folds and stuff right, but I love adding thickness to it, like around collars and sleeves, you know, where you can actually see the edge. I don't know why, I did get off on that for some reason. And there's like this little dent in there, like for your butt to sit. Don't know if I'll keep that. I'm thinking no, I don't think it adds anything. I think I'll throw that bit out. Okay, hang on, I need to look at my rocking chair again. Okay, it's sort of curved around the back. Excellent. Curved around the back, just like such. And then we need our rockers. Okay, let's see, like that. I'm not loving that shape. Let's try again. Quick and confident. Quick and confident. There we go. That I like better. There, okay. Nailed it. Alright, let's add our little rockers on there. Let's see, how does that look? I think that looks good. There, how do we feel about that? I think I like that. Are they too short? I don't know. Let me see. Let me take a look at this picture. It's not a great... It's a little hard to tell because it's front on. Let's find another reference. How long are the rockers on a rocking chair? That one aren't very long. They're pretty short. They don't stick out too much in the front. I guess I didn't notice that. They stick out more in the back, which makes sense because you don't want to flip on your face. Okay, yeah, so they stop there. It's mostly in the back that they stick out. Okay, this is good that I checked this. Alright, let's move that back then, so you can make sure we do it right. And you know what, I'm actually, I feel like does the chair feel a little out of balance? I think actually what I'd like to do, here, let's turn on our warp tool, because I want to make it a little bit more curved. I don't want to redraw it, so, you know. Efficiency, my friends. Alright. There we go. I like that. Okay. It's a little fuzzy now, though, which tends to happen when you warp it. So let's sharpen it and see if we can... Okay, that's better. Alright. Yeah, alright, now let's put that in place and just see how that looks. Make little adjustments. Oh, there we go. I like that. I feel pretty good about that. And hopefully I'll at least get this rocking chair done. I have like 10 minutes before I've got to go and pick up my son. So let's make the most of this last 10 minutes. And I just want to suggest that other leg of the rocker over there, and do it kind of coming out back here. We'll just sort of suggest that it's there. Alright, last thing I need to do is the arms on the rocker, and I want to take a look at these ones, the way they attach. Okay, so they attach right to those main dowels. Alright, I can do that. Okay, so we go, it attaches there. How far does it go forward, though? I didn't take note of that. Hang on. Okay, so it goes almost to the edge of the seat. Okay, I like that. Let's copy and paste that over. I want this to look like he's working on it, too. A work in progress, that maybe he's sanding and just kind of finishing up. There we go. What if we did, like, again, like some nails sticking out of it? There we go, like that. He's still fine-tuning, and maybe I'll put a couple of little, like, scraps of curls of wood down here. So it's like he's sanding it and working on some of the details. Okay. Woo! Got ourselves a rocking chair. All right, next let's do. Okay, so we're done with all the hard stuff. I can draw planks of wood. I'm pretty good at planks of wood. My arm is actually starting to get really tired. My shoulder. I have to, in order to avoid hitting my microphone, I have to kind of lift my arm awkwardly over top of it while I work, and it's not very comfortable, in case you're wondering. But I will make that sacrifice. This is why I work out. I actually don't work my shoulders very well, but I should, clearly. Clearly I should. If you're sore after drawing, I mean, you should probably address that. Okay, if you're sore after a day of drawing, although I will say, that was my baby. I will say, after I first got my Cintiq, my shoulder would get really sore, because I was just used to drawing, like, flat on a table or in my lap, and having to, like, sit up straight and actually raise my arm, which is much better drawing posture, actually, which I should have been doing all along. Anyway, it actually did kind of take a toll. It did kind of hurt. My shoulder would get sore, and I'd be like, complain to my husband when we come from work, I'm so sorry. What'd you do? I drew on my computer. And oh, poor baby. Alright, I'm gonna add some nails to these. So maybe they're like used planks, I think. Maybe ones that he's like scrap bits that he's saving. And I'll add wood grain and stuff to those in the coloring phase. But I think those look pretty good, actually. Alright, and the last thing, which I think I can knock out here in about 3 minutes, is this big pile of wood chips. No problem. I'm gonna pretty much do what I did before and just sort of suggest shapes here. I'm not going to draw each individual wood shaving because that would be insane and a total waste of time given the scale you're actually going to be seeing this at. And again, I am like way the heck too close to my microphone. I am so sorry, people. Hopefully the sound quality is just like super crisp and clear because I've been leaning into it this whole time. But if it's not, I apologize because I probably won't know how to fix it. I'll do my best, but I do have a few videos where the sound is not great. But, it's not super worth it for me to go back and fix them, in my mind. But I will try and improve. I might not go back and fix the old ones, but I will try and do better on the next one. Which is probably good life advice for a lot of things, actually. Here we go, just pile of shavings. I think these wood chips are way the heck too big again. Hi, baby. My girl's in here. I think I mentioned that, but she's in here hanging out with me. So we're just gonna suggest that this is a big pile of shavings. I'm just gonna do a bunch of these sort of angular square shapes. Some of them kind of curl. Just want to create the illusion this is a pile of stuff. Okay, and again, those wood chips are probably too big. They're supposed to be little shavings. I'll shrink them a bit. And this is something, of course, we can use over and over again in this space, which is great for a bunch of different piles of wood chips. I'm going to do a couple of little, like, ones scattered around too that we can use. Just kind of... we can use them as just sort of a repeating shape that then we can just use like all over the floor, basically. I guess I could make a new like floor tile that just looks like it's covered in wood chips. I could do that. I don't know which would be more efficient. I guess I've already started this, so, you know, here we go. Maybe doing like a whole floor tile that just looks like a wood floor covered in wood shavings would make more sense, but... anyway, it's an idea for next time. I've thought about doing that actually because I have a barn, of course, which if you've been watching any of these videos, you may have seen the barn already. But I do have to do a big, like, stable for this village, like, or this kingdom. And I was thinking about doing a new floor tile for that just looks like it's covered in straw, like there's just a lot of scattered straw on it. Instead of doing just individual straw bits, but the thing is I've already made the individual straw bits, so I guess I don't know if that would be any more efficient, really. There's a lot of that stuff that's already done, which would be great. In fact, like the stalls and everything, I'll probably use the same ones I used for your home barn. Just use that for the big stable. I guess we'll see. I might make some tweaks to make them look a little fancier. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, I think that's pretty good for the wood chips. I'm going to back out here so you can see everything we've done today. And I actually feel, turn off that sketch layer, I actually feel pretty good about that. I think that's probably enough stuff for his little workshop. And so I'm going to go ahead and start coloring this, actually. So I think this is a good place to stop for this video because it is 2:30 p.m. and I have to go and pick up my son from school. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, and come back next week for the next one, and I will be sure to show this to you when it's all done. But in the meantime, thank you for drawing with me, and I will catch you next week. See you then.